All right, Teri, here you go. Take the stage. I'm excited for everyone to get to know you. And tell me, what do you think about that poll? Do you think that's something that's going to be tricky for people, or do you think they'll be able to answer that?
Hello.
Hey.
Yeah, that's a great question. When I was presented with the idea of the poll, I was like, oh, definitely the second one. Well, obviously I'm biased. I think that body image information is important to education, especially because most of us are dealing with people in front of our cameras. And
Yes.
I'm pretty sure the people that are attending a wedding and portrait photography conference will have dealt with clients that have said some variation of, I don't look good in front of the camera, or I need to lose weight before I come in for a photo shoot, or get me from my good angle. And yeah, I have in my whole career have never met a client that was like, I look so good on camera, please photograph me.
Right.
So I think the more information we have about representation and body image conversation in the education sphere for photographers, I think it'll just make our work that much more rich
Yeah.
and more appealing to more people because there's a huge fraction of people that don't think that they can be photographed,
Yeah.
which obviously in terms of revenue as a photography business, you're missing out on that. But also there are people out there that just don't think that they deserve to be in front of the camera because of the representation we've seen thus far. But it does start with educators, which is always my push to challenge photography educators. If you're teaching a workshop on lighting, why don't you change up the models that you're using and don't just use 20-something-year-old thin-bodied models? Like
Hmm.
use anybody because you're just showing how light works. Or yeah, I just think there's so much more room for diversity in the photography industry as a whole. So we've come a long way, though, I will say, since when I first joined in like 2014. Yeah, we've definitely come a long way, but there's still a long way to go.
I think that the Portrait Masters has really spearheaded that, actually. I mean, and I'm making obviously a generalization. I know that there's other parts of our industry that advocate for that, but I think that and it's probably been a lot because of you and your push for it. And you're absolutely right. Like most of us are not photographing models, actually. We're photographing, and not that models aren't people, but models are, they're trained in how to make their bodies, look a certain way or whatever. But most of us are photographing, people that are coming in for our services, and they are all different types of bodies and genders and everything in between. And I think it's just such an important thing that you're doing.
Thank you.
Okay, so our poll results are in, and it's not surprising. 80% say yes, they do believe
Yay!
that that education and body image media literacy should be incorporated into photography courses. And so I think this is an incredible movement that you're making. It inspires me to, like insert that in part of my classes. Like, why don't I have that as just a little snippet to help, inspire that. So anyway, you've been very
I was,
inspiring to me, Teri.
I was gonna say, feel free to bring me in if you want.
I will.
Yeah, no, it definitely, like I said, the industry has made leaps and bounds of progress, but I do believe the boudoir industry as a whole has been really spearheading that. It was still coming into the portrait system when you saw me at the Portrait Masters
Yeah.
conference. The first time I was there was the Portrait Masters shootout the year before that. And I think people were still in the portrait world, still very new to my type of education around bodies. But thankfully, in the last like 3 years since that first meeting in the portrait world, I think people are ready and willing to embrace this idea that, wait, everybody is worthy of being photographed, even my own, which I think is one of the hiccups that gets in people's way is thinking that, well, if my body, there's a reason I'm behind the camera. This is what photographers say. And a big part of that has to do with their body image, which is why I'm
Mhm.
excited to talk about that at WPPI this year.
Yeah. That's definitely, I think that one thing, not just your body, but exactly what you're saying is that most people feel uncomfortable being photographed, and your level of confidence and vulnerability is rare. no matter what your body looks like or who you are, it's very hard to be that vulnerable. So it's, again, so inspiring. You're in for a treat. You must see her seminar. I don't know if you're going to get in her photo walk because it's probably going to sell out, but so why don't you tell us a little bit about your photo walk? And it sounds like you have some slides to show us to give us a little snippet into that. And just if you're new here this week, remember, photo walk is what we call these mini, more concentrated workshops essentially. But really what it is you getting really concentrated education from one educator in a smaller environment. I think there's only 20 students, and it's about a particular topic. So it's not necessarily a photo walk, but I'll go ahead and let you take over and show us what you've got for us today.
So, first of all, I'm high energy, so you got to be ready for that. But my favorite thing about the photo walks is that you're not just getting images for your portfolio, which you will, of diverse bodies. So, like, lots of people are like, I can't get X type of body in my area, even though I want to photograph. Plus size people is a big one. I don't know. Nobody wants to come in, sign a model release. That's where these photo walks are great, is that I'm going to have models there for you, and we're going to walk you through how to photograph them in ways that challenge beauty ideals, which is so fun. So I'm going to show you literally how I would photograph the clients, and instead, a big part of my approach to photographing all bodies is not me telling them what to do, but rather asking them how they want to show up. So what that looks like is working with their energy, working with their personality, and not letting beauty standards dictate which poses I should do or what angles are flattering. Instead, saying what feels good when you do this. What does confidence look like in your body to you? Instead of me deciding it for them. And that approach has allowed me to become quite known as somebody that makes people feel really comfortable in front of the camera. So I'm super excited to demonstrate that to other photographers so they can take that home with them and just start to expand. Again, a big thing I say is like, instead of telling people how they should look, a really cool part of being an artist is helping people see what they could look like, and really encouraging them to step out of their comfort zone and not be afraid of a low angle shot, not being afraid that their tummy rolls when they stand a certain way, not being afraid that maybe they have a double chin, but they laughed so energetically during the photo shoot. It's
Yeah.
really creating images that represent a feeling. Instead of creating a feeling, we are letting them feel and capturing it instead, which is a really awesome approach. So I'm super excited. I believe it is halfway sold out, my photo
Yes.
walk, but there is talk that if it does sell out, we may add a second one. So come on, come play with me.
What a paradigm shift. Like, not to make somebody, you're not to talk about a flattering pose, but a pose that makes or you feel good. It's essentially not even, it's almost like you get to be who you are, and you as the artist are going to show them that that is beautiful. Like, what an
Yeah,
amazing approach. I love everything about that. So
thanks.
that is her photo walk, empowerment for all bodies. It's already filling up. It will sell out. I can make that guarantee. So let's talk just for 2 seconds about your seminar, which if you are, so the photo walk, you do have to pay extra. It's 149, I believe, extra. But if you have a conference pass, you can go to any of the seminars. If you get the premium conference pass, you get a fast pass, which her seminar will undoubtedly be very packed and lines waiting to get in. So you might want to consider that fast pass for one of these. But so your seminar is called The Business of Body Image. You want to just give like a quick 2-second snip into what that is? I mean, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for sure. So I do, for those that did see me at the Portrait Masters in 2022, when I took my clothes off on stage, this
Yeah.
will not be that.
Okay.
So I will
That was
keep
my
my
first
clothes
intro to you.
on.
I was like, oh, there's
Yeah, exactly. Hi. But there will be photos of me, half naked on the screen. So it's the same. But essentially, the business of body image is going to help people just get the right questions to ask in their business to determine whether or not the actions that they're taking are actually in alignment with the message that they're putting out there. So a lot of times, especially in boudoir and portrait, we say we want to empower everyone. We want everyone to feel good. But yet we find ourselves falling into top selling poses, or only showing certain bodies, or only having wardrobe up to a certain size, and so on. So my job isn't to say, do it this way. My job is to simply give you the questions to ask in your business to build a business that aligns with the future that you want for beauty standards, for beauty as a whole, so that more people can see themselves in your studio, essentially. So yeah, it's just an hour and a half of curiosity, essentially. In addition to exploring how your body image impacts your final results as well as a business, how you receive money, how you schedule your time, all that good stuff. We are going to get deep, but it is going to hopefully change the way that you think about not just your business, but also yourself.
Amazing. So inspiring. Thank you so much, Teri. I could talk to you all day.
Yes.
Teri has a very active and beautiful Instagram account, Teri Hofford. So at Teri Hofford is her Instagram handle. So make sure you're following her. If this has piqued your interest, make sure that you get your ticket to that photo walk and make sure that you are there for her seminar talk because it's going to be amazing.